From CBS News Bay Area, this is the Evening Edition.
Good evening and thank you for joining us. I'm Andrea Nakano. We begin tonight in Minneapolis after another fatal shooting this morning. Earlier today, 37-year-old Alex Preddy was shot and killed by federal immigration agents. Preddy was an American citizen with no criminal record and a lawful gun owner with a permit to carry. The killing comes just 2 weeks after the fatal shooting of Renee Good, and it has sparked more protests and unrest in a city already under pressure. Lana Zak is on the ground with the latest.
Another fatal shooting as ICE raids continue in Minnesota. Officials say a 37-year-old American citizen was shot and killed by federal agents.
Officers arrived and found an adult male with multiple gunshot wounds when they arrived. Life-saving aid was being rendered, and he was transported by ambulance to Hennepin County Medical Center, where he was later pronounced deceased.
Minneapolis residents were stunned.
A neighbor was murdered. One of our regular pub attenders was right there. I mean, they were murdered on the street.
ICE officials say the protester killed was in possession of a firearm.
You can see the gun here on the screen there that individual possessed. It appears to be a semi-automatic, high-capacity type, possibly a Sig Sauer 9mm.
But Minnesota officials say the deceased had a valid gun permit and condemned the use of deadly force.
I just saw a video of more than 6 masked agents pummeling one of our constituents and shooting him to death. How many more residents, how many more Americans need to die or get badly hurt for this operation to end?
Tensions again inflamed. Protesters took to the streets today.
We're hearing bottles being broken in the streets. There is a literal dumpster fire over there.
The shooting comes one day after thousands took to the streets of Minneapolis to protest ICE activities in Minnesota, and roughly 8 weeks into Operation Metro Surge, in which thousands of ICE agents first descended upon the state.
We are also seeing a strong response to that shooting right here in the Bay Area. Oakland Mayor Barbara Lee will join us with her reaction in just a moment. We also have team coverage for you at this hour with 2 more protests going on right now. Amanda Harry is live for us in San Jose, but first to Da Lint in San Francisco, live on the ground at Harry Bridges Plaza. Da.
Yeah, Andrea, this is a very active scene here. Hundreds of protesters now gathering at the corner. Come with me here at the corner of Market and Spear. Now, they were at one point for about an hour gathered in front of the Ferry Building over at the Justin Herman Plaza, where they were listening to speakers talking about how angry they were. That was for about an hour. Now, in the last 5 to 10 minutes, they have come to this corner here to start to march. What their plan is, they're going to march down Market Street. We don't know the exact route. The understanding is that they'll march down Market Street, farther down, perhaps even down to the City Hall area. Their end goal is to eventually march back to the Ferry Building area. But you can see all of these folks are really, really angry, frustrated, even though Minneapolis is about 2,000 miles away. But you can feel the anger all the way here in the Bay Area. A lot of folks here with signs. Some say arrest ICE. Some other signs say ICE out for good. Even saw a couple of signs that call ICE murderers. They overall just want ICE out of the communities of Minnesota and out of the Bay Area, and perhaps pretty much out altogether. Now, so far, it's been a very peaceful protest, but there are a lot of police officers keeping the peace, watching over this protest right now. So they're about to march anytime soon now. I'll send it back to you guys.
All right, thank you so much, Da. And let's get right to Amanda Harry now down in San Jose at the Mexican Heritage Plaza. Amanda, what's going on there?
Yeah, we are actually already marching here. We are on the streets here of San Jose. Hundreds of people gathered with just a few hours' notice. You can see all of them here. Several organizations here in San Jose came together to put on this protest. They're calling it an emergency protest in response to the man who was shot and killed by federal immigration officers in Minnesota this morning. They started the rally at Mexican Heritage Plaza. Now we are walking down Alum Rock, and we'll be walking for a while. This protest is just getting started. People are loud, they are spirited, and they are staying as much as they can on the side of the road to keep everyone safe. We will be here all evening, and we'll have an update for you later this evening.
All right, Amanda and thank you so much for your reports. Now, joining us live is Oakland Mayor Barbara Lee. Mayor Lee, thank you for taking the time for us tonight. But you said that this incident is a direct result of enforcement operations treating American communities like combat zones. What was your reaction to the shooting this morning?
Well, first of all, my reaction to the shooting this morning was, quite frankly, sadness, anger. My goddaughter lives in Minneapolis. I checked in with her. I'm a good friend of the Attorney General, Keith Ellison, checked in with him. And, you know, it is unbelievable what our government is doing. And when you look at the fact that this individual was a nurse, had a permit to carry a concealed weapon. And in between my events today, I came home and watched the video. I mean, my God, it's clear what took place. And, you know, it is just time to make sure that the Congress does not allow the funding for ICE and Border Patrol to go through. And this has got to stop, because this is what Donald Trump's playbook is all about, to create chaos, to kill people so that he can begin to occupy militarily cities and, in fact, invoke the Insurrection Act. And that is unconstitutional. It's not needed. And, in fact, this is something that we need to really look very carefully at, because the lies that they tell, the cover-ups, and how they immediately respond with, they're going to conduct the investigation if these individuals are terrorists. I mean, it's like, please, this is our government. We pay taxes. No, we've got to speak out, and we've got to peacefully protest, and we've got to say in no uncertain terms, this is our country, and we are not going to allow these murders and these assaults and this occupation to take place. For what? What is the reason? I know this administration's playbook. Remember, I was there 4 years. I was on the floor of the House of Representatives on January 6th, 4 years under Donald Trump's regime. So I know the dangers. Steve Miller, I know these people. And we've got to be vigilant, but we've got to push back, but we have to peacefully do this, because we cannot allow them to use our communities to create chaos. And that's what they're doing.
And Mayor Lee, you just kind of mentioned some of the things that we could do, but Governor Walz in Minnesota and Mayor Frey have asked for ICE to leave the city and state with no success. Is there anything that could be done more at the political level to maybe remove these ICE agents for now, at least until the pressure kind of lowers a little bit?
Well, we've got to keep demanding that they leave, first of all. Secondly, we've got to hold those elected officials, those members of Congress who vote for this funding accountable. This is partially a political struggle also at this moment. Thirdly, we've got to engage in lawsuits. We've got to get these lawsuits filed right away everywhere in the country. And you see, in most instances, the courts are on the side of the people. I mean, come on, we're exercising our First Amendment rights. Are they being taken away also? And so there are a variety of strategies we have to use. So it's all hands on deck. Not one is going to stop Donald Trump. We have to do everything. And I told my goddaughter and Attorney General Ellison, I was really proud of people in Minnesota and how they form coalitions and how they have the whistles and how they're pushing back hard and how dangerous it is for them to be out there in the cold. But they're there. And so, you know, the arc of the moral universe is long, as Dr. King said, but it bends towards justice. So we have to keep fighting.
Mayor Lee, as we saw in the protests here in San Francisco, it seems like the anger, the tensions are rising. What would your message be for demonstrators tonight?
Well, my message is, yeah, I'm angry too, and I feel sad. And in fact, I understand our First Amendment rights, and we have to peacefully protest, but please don't take the bait. I know these people. I know what they want to do. Their military is what they want to send into our communities, and so don't give them that opening. But yes, we're going to keep protesting. We're going to exercise our First Amendment rights. They're trying to even take those away. Don't let them do that, but don't take the bait.
All right, Oakland Mayor Barbara Lee, thank you so much for your insight tonight.
Thank you.
Well, the situation in Minneapolis is also touching professional sports. The NBA announced the Warriors game with the Minnesota Timberwolves will be postponed until tomorrow, saying the decision was to prioritize safety and security for the Minneapolis community. Stay with us as we continue to follow the latest in Minneapolis on air, online at kpix.com and streaming on the free CBS News app. Well, coming up, more than 10,000 flights canceled as a major winter storm slams most of the country. We're tracking the dozens of cancellations at SFO next.
And we're going to put that huge storm on the virtual map. I'll give you a little bit of context for it coming up. But we've also got to look out into the Pacific and keep an eye on the next chance of rain, which is coming our way. Not getting here till Tuesday night, maybe Wednesday, but it's still there. We still have a chance for light rain. Been a while since we've had any. We'll time it out. Forecast coming up after the break.
Tonight, a winter storm is gridlocking much of the Midwest and the East Coast. At least 20 states have already declared a state of emergency. Police in New York City report that at least 3 people have died after being caught outside in freezing temperatures. In Louisiana, power outages have affected nearly 50,000 people. Air travel in the U.S. has also been severely impacted by the storm. San Francisco International Airport has seen 50 cancellations and 70 delays. Airlines are attempting to soften the blow to travelers. Multiple carriers are allowing rebookings without charging any extra fees. And for more on the weather here locally, here's Darren Peck.
All right, let's pick up this story and get a handle on how this storm is put together. It is such a wide area across the country that when we watch the Futurecast depiction on it, the whole east half of the country looks like a Neapolitan right now. You've got snow and white, you've got pink for where the ice is going to be. Then you get some pretty intense rain that comes through on Sunday through the southeast, only to turn into a conveyor belt of snow as that then moves across parts of the northeast. I think the biggest story here by far is the ice that's going to fall. So let me just give you a quick overview on that. Take a look at this part of the country. We just watched the storm here. But if we look at what the aftermath would be for ice, it is this midsection where you get that deep band of red. When you get accumulating ice like this is like maybe 1/10, 2/10, quarter of an inch of ice. Can't travel. The roads they're pretty much unusable. And then power lines are probably going to go down, which means this huge swath of the country, which is going to be dealing with a loss of power, is then, after the storm moves through, you're going to see this big surge of cold air spill down. And as that happens, look at the southeast here. These are sub-freezing temperatures. That's after the storm has passed. This is Monday. This might be the bigger part of this whole thing. When we get to Monday, and because of the ice coating everything and the power outages, people are not really going to have many options to make sure that they're not exposed to the worst of this. Big story, still developing, and much still to come out of the eastern half of the country. We will stay on top of the forecast as well, and we'll give you some updates here locally. All right, let's see if we can get our forecast imagery to go. And let's just start off with where we're going to be tomorrow here at home. We take a look at where the temperatures will be. We're going to have another morning much like today. Good news on this is we didn't have to deal with much of the marine layer or the fog or the clouds today. We likely won't have to tomorrow either. And as we clear off the map and take a look at where we're going to be for actual high temperatures, tomorrow's going to be just as nice as today. Today was pretty spectacular. We cleared out the clouds, a little bit of an offshore breeze. Temperatures warmed up. Some of these numbers were near 70 today, and we could be doing that again tomorrow as well for some of the warmer North Bay valleys. Not bad there in terms of changing things up. What happened to the rain? Well, we have a chance here for a few light showers by the time we get to Tuesday night. In fact, I want to bring this back one step. Let's go back and watch this again, because on Tuesday morning, a little bit of Thule fog is back, probably even trying to creep in through parts of the bay. Shouldn't be widespread. We're getting a nice break now thanks to the offshore wind, but we'll probably see a little Thule fog again on Tuesday morning. But then the next rainmaker shows up. Not a lot to this, but we still have a chance for rain. Tuesday, late afternoon, it starts in the North Bay. Now it's looking ahead towards Wednesday morning. Showers moving mainly across the North Bay. By the time we get towards afternoon, it'll likely be done. I don't anticipate we'll get a lot from this, but maybe about 2/10 of an inch of rain from that system. At least it's something. Got to start somewhere. Shows up in the 7-day forecast. You can see it right here with showers going into Wednesday, maybe a little bit of fog left over or rebuilding from the Central Valley on Thursday.
Welcome back. A live look back out at the anti-ICE protest happening in San Jose. Folks there are hitting the streets after another deadly shooting by federal agents in Minneapolis. There is also a protest in San Francisco as well. Now, here is the latest on what we know. Minnesota Governor Tim Walz has activated the National Guard following the shooting death of 37-year-old Alex Preddy by a federal Border Patrol agent. Bystander video shows Preddy being tackled to the ground and surrounded by federal officers before multiple shots are fired. The Trump administration is calling the shooting justified. This incident has triggered protests across the country, including here in the Bay Area. And again, stay with us as we continue to follow the latest on Minneapolis, on air, online at kpix.com, and it's also streaming on the free CBS News app. Well, by this time tomorrow, we will know which teams will be coming to the Bay Area for the Super Bowl. Tonight, we're learning more about who will not be at the game, and that will be President Trump. In an interview with the New York Post, the president said he was not fond of the performers. Last week, we learned Green Day will kick off the Super Bowl. Bad Bunny will be the halftime performer. Both endorsed Kamala Harris in 2024, but that is not the only reason why President Trump won't be making the trip to Santa Clara next month, and he says it is just too far away. Well, that will do it for us here at 5. The CBS Weekend Evening News is coming up next, and coming up at 6 o'clock here, we will go back to the protest in San Jose and San Francisco to check in with how both marches are going on. And thank you for joining us. We will see you back here in about 30 minutes.